Before we begin today, we'll let everyone get in the room. Well, thank you again for joining us, everyone. Before we begin today, I would like to acknowledge that Brooks is on the Treaty 7 territory, home to the Blackfoot Confederacy of the Siksika people, the Kainai, and the Piikani, as well as the Tsuut'ina and Stoney Nakoda nations of Bearspaw, Chiniki, and Wesley. This area also has deep importance to the people of the Métis Nation of Alberta of Region 3. My name is Michaela Fry, and I'm the very proud MLA for Brooks Medicine Hat, and it is a great honor to be here with you all today. Today, we're launching a program that is going to make a great impact on the youth of this community and change lives for the better. After months of talking about this, it is a great honor to be here. But first, I'd like to invite Premier Jason Kenney to the podium to get us started.
Thank you very much, Michaela, and thank you for your great work on behalf of the people of Brooks Medicine Hat. It was good to be with you at Medicine Hat this morning. And thank you to Minister Ron Orr for joining us, as well as representatives of municipal government. But thank you especially to my good friend Ahmed Kasam and everybody here at the Global Village Center for welcoming me so warmly yet again for, I think, my fourth visit over many years, going back 20 years. No, well, yeah, maybe that was the first time, but I certainly was a visitor and supporter. As the Canadian Minister for Citizenship and Immigration, have always been a great fan of the work done by the Global Centre here in Brooks. In fact, it was during my last visit, about 18 months ago, that in the summer of 2020, if we cast our minds back to that, we'll recall the Black Lives Matter movement spreading across North America as a response to police violence and racism. Raising the consciousness of the reality of racism in our society and the need more aggressively to attack racism and particularly to raise the consciousness about the many challenges that Black youth face in their lives here in Canada. And it was a conversation I had with Ahmed at the time, and he said that he was hoping to establish a mentorship program as a constructive way of addressing these concerns about racism, particularly amongst Black and immigrant youth in this community. And he suggested to me the idea of a program named after John Ware. And so that's what brought us here today. It was Ahmed's brilliant idea. John Ware, and we are doing this on the last day of Black History Month in February as a part of Alberta's commemoration of the contribution of Albertans of African and Caribbean origin. John Ware was the earliest and sort of hero and folk legend of the Black community, but really of the settlement of Alberta in the late 1800s and early 1900s. John Ware was born into slavery in South Carolina before the Civil War, was emancipated because of the Civil War, moved to Texas and became a ranch hand, helped to drive cattle north here to the eastern slopes of the Alberta Rockies in the 1880s, and stayed on as a ranch hand, quickly developing a reputation as one of the most skilled cowboys ever to be on the Western Canadian frontier. In fact, he invented some of the rodeo events that are still celebrated at the Calgary Stampede. John Ware grew up as in a deeply racist society as a slave in the southern U.S., and undoubtedly, he went on to experience racism throughout his life, including here in the Western frontier. But he never let that get him down. He continued through the force of his personality, his work ethic, and his hopefulness for a better future to overcome prejudice and discrimination, and ultimately earned enormous respect and became a bit of a folk legend here in the Canadian West of that period of settlement. He befriended people from the First Nations communities and ultimately became known as the greatest cowboy of the Western Canadian frontier. John Ware ultimately ended up saving up and buying a small ranch just south of us here in Brooks, where he and his wife started a family with their 3 sons. Tragically, on September the 5th, 1905, John was out riding on his ranch. His horse hit a gopher hole, and he took a tumble in what was a fatal accident, dying at his farm south of Brooks just 5 days after Alberta joined Confederation as a province in the 1st of September 1905. John's body was taken to Calgary, where he was welcomed by virtually the entire community and people from all around southern Alberta who came out to pay tribute to this great pioneer, this great man, this escaped slave who went on to personify the frontier spirit in Western Canada and was a key part of our founding as a province. In fact, John Ware had the largest gathering for a funeral in the territory's history up to that point. A remarkable example of bringing people together, even at a time when prejudice was widespread. I've always regarded John Ware as the perfect symbol of Alberta's Black history, and so many others, of course, followed in his footsteps. Amber Valley and the other communities of early Black Canadian pioneers who helped to plow virgin soil and settle new communities. And so I think it's fitting that we should be here in Brooks, close to where John finished his life, to celebrate his legacy, but to ensure that Alberta continues to be a place of opportunity for generations to come of, yes, Black Canadians, but also people of all and diverse backgrounds. And there is really no better place to celebrate that legacy and to move it forward than the community of Brooks. Brooks plays an important role in Alberta's economy, particularly its agriculture economy, with the largest beef packing plant in Canada, without which our ranchers and beef producers wouldn't have a market. So thousands of ranchers and beef producers across the province are able to make a living, in part because of the existence of this enormous plant. And that plant only works because of hard-working people. And increasingly, over the past 25 years, more and more of those folks have been newcomers, many who arrived in Canada as refugees, many of them people of African origin. The Global Center, the Global Village here in Brooks, was established to help welcome those newcomers, to help ensure their successful integration into the community. Brooks has, in those early days, when Brooks was rapidly becoming more diverse, there were some stresses, there were some challenges. There were experiences of racism, and there was tension in the community. But I always point to this, how this community overcame those challenges as a wonderful example of the true Alberta spirit. And so we are here today to celebrate that fact. The Global Village has played a critical role in all of that. And welcoming newcomers, helping them to develop their path forward in Canada. Language training, support through the immigration process, daycare, counseling, mental health support, and so much more in partnership with JBS, with the town of Brooks, with the Chamber of Commerce, with other employers. Now, I know there are still challenges, and people in our province still sometimes do face racism. But I think we also need to focus on positive achievements, and that's exactly what we can do here in Brooks. Thanks to this becoming the town of 100 languages. Is that what you say? And I think I said hello to people coming in at least a dozen of those languages on the way in. I want to say thanks to the whole Brooks community for being a welcoming place. My friend Jonathan from JBS, who has been one of the directors of human resources there in the creative hiring and integration practices that really have become a model for so many others. Alberta just launched our Rural Renewal Immigration Stream because, unlike Brooks, many Alberta communities are struggling with declining or stagnant population. We believe immigration can be a real way to turn that around, to revitalize the economy and future of rural communities. And so as that happens, though, there will be integration challenges. Yes, some people will experience racism and prejudice. And that's why, as a government, we are committed to combating racism, but to supporting integration, to ensure that Alberta really is a society characterized by true equality of opportunity, grounded in a universal belief in human dignity, regardless of where we were born, regardless of the color of our skin or how we pray, regardless of what kind of work we do. This must be a society of equality of opportunity. And that's why I am so proud to be here today to announce the creation of the Alberta's government's John Ware Youth Empowerment Program with $145,000 government commitment to fund this program, to develop a mentorship program for immigrant youth who may need a little bit of extra support as they begin to navigate their lives through the Canadian system and Canadian life. With that, I'm delighted to be here again with the Global Centre to launch the John Ware program at the end of Black History Month. And we're excited to see how this program develops. I would love for us to expand it in the future. Ahmed, I want to thank you and your team for your leadership and your vision. Michaela, for your advocacy and support. And now I believe I'll be introducing the Minister of Culture, Ron Orr. Last day for masks. I just got to put mine back on here.
Hello, everyone, and thank you, Premier, and thanks to all of you for joining us here in Brooks to launch this incredible program. I just spent over an hour with Ahmed, and wonderful conversation. Great spirit, great attitude. He's doing an incredible thing here in Brooks and for Alberta, quite honestly, leading the way. Because the truth is, youth in our province will write the next great chapter of Alberta's history. And we have an important, and they will have an important part to play in both our economic, social, and emotional recovery, human healing, really, human recovery. But the reality is, as the Premier has said, that sometimes it can be hard for young people to chart their course in life. When the whole world lies ahead of you, you might need some help to figure out which way to go and how to get there and what the destination should even be for you. And as many of you know, not everyone in Alberta has the same access to levels of support to help. And in smaller rural communities, that is a real challenge. So especially for newcomers and visible minority youth, they may not have the same network of contacts, the same supports in their communities to find those kinds of opportunities that are out there for them. And as I said, especially that's true in rural Alberta, since many of the smaller towns don't have all of those supports. But you know, I've discovered since I've been in this role that some of our newcomer communities are very strong, and I just encourage the youth of Brooks and across Alberta to connect. And I think somewhere I read one time there's some kind of a proverb that says that a wise person draws wisdom from others as out of a deep well. And my comment to youth would be, you know what, you've got some incredible resources in your own communities from your own people. Draw the wisdom out of them. You can learn from them, you can gain from them, you can be strengthened by them. And Brooks is a great example of this. It's a rural community, has the 5th highest percentage of visible minorities in the province. It's a town with rich diversity that also happens to be the very place where the legendary black cowboy John Ware ranched and raised his family. And if anyone is an example of persevering against challenges and succeeding, that's the key point. It is John Ware. Born into slavery, as mentioned, but became a free man after the Civil War, ended up here in Alberta to create a new life. And although he still faced challenges, as all of us do, he gained respect for his skills, for his bravery, and he earned credibility that is unmarked in our history. The John Ware Youth Empowerment Program bears his name as a nod to how we can all learn from his values and his life. And Alberta's government is investing in $145,000 in this pilot program to help 60 young people between the ages of 19 and 26 here in Brooks learn skills, set a course of hope for their lives and for their futures. This is truly an investment in the future of our province. These young people will gain such life skills as financial literacy, overall resiliency, career planning, and many other things. This initiative also includes a train-the-trainer component, which will allow other organizations to pick up what's happening here and from other parts of the province to also implement ultimately the program in their communities. So that's why we call it a pilot at this stage, but we truly hope that it grows and spreads and becomes much broader than it is just here in Brooks. The program will have lasting impacts for generations to come for visible minority and newcomer youth in rural Alberta. So I truly want to say thank you, Ahmed. I enjoyed the visit. Your vision is outstanding. Your passion, your commitment is unsurpassed. And it's quite frankly because of inspiring Albertans like Ahmed, a visionary himself, a modern day John Ware if you want, maybe not a cowboy, but a pioneer of his own type. You don't want to ride to the Bucking Bronx, do you? But a member of his own community, pioneering a better future for youth, and programs like this are it. It wouldn't happen without him. That's the absolute truth of the matter. So I'm so glad that our government is able to come alongside him, partner with him and support this great venture with much needed resources for the young people of Brooks and ultimately, hopefully, many other communities as well. Ensuring John Ware's legacy of hard work and courage is something every Albertan, quite frankly, can be proud about. I look forward to seeing this program grow over the next few years. And now, I'd like to invite the Mayor of Brooks, John Petrie, to provide some remarks. Thank you very much.
I hate to have my back to you there, so I apologize there. So, good afternoon. On behalf of the City of Brooks, I want to welcome Premier Kenney and Minister Orr to the City of 100 Hellos. I think you spoke about 50 of them coming into the entrance here, too. I also want to thank Premier Kenney for the kind words he said earlier in his speech there and the kind words he gave to the City of Brooks at the recent conference in regards to our settlement programs in this community here. I know, and the other thing I want to thank Mr. Kenney for is those rural programs you're talking about. I know our council is looking at those programs, and we hopefully, can take advantage of those programs. So I thank you very much for those. It's very important for, our economic development in the rural areas there. I also want to mention that this community has worked very hard on being inclusive there. And that was a partnership of several levels there. And I'll talk about the levels. The levels come from our governments, our city council, our county council, and our school board representatives too. I know we have somebody from Grasslands, and we had somebody from the French school board here too. Those are the partnerships. But there's also another part of the partnership I want to talk about. It comes from people like Ahmed, who never sat back and they wanted to be included in the community there. So when we talk about inclusivity, it has to be a partnership at all levels. It just can't be at one level. It has to be at all levels. He took the initiative, and there's many others in the community like Ahmed that have taken the initiative to be part of the community. And that's important too, because you just can't sit back and do nothing. It's like the person that is sitting at home and say, this community is boring. Meanwhile, they're not doing anything or going out to do anything, but a good chunk of our immigrant community, thanks to the leadership of Ahmed and others like that, have gone out and made our community a little bit more inclusive there. I also want to talk about the John Ware Youth Empowerment Program. Now, this idea was initiated by Ahmed here, and I tell you what, he had no idea that it's going to get the level of recognition that it has today. He started it because he cared about youth in the community and he wanted to do something for the community. So I applaud you for that, and I applaud you guys for recognizing that and the level it's come. Like I said, he had no idea that it was going to get to this level, where we have, the Premier and the Minister down here today there too. He created it because he cared about the community and he cares about youth there. And as part of the City of Brooks, we're very excited about this program, what it will do to the youth and what it will do to the community. So thank you very much there. I get the opportunity to introduce the Reeve of the County of Newell. He's quite familiar with politics around this area here. Reeve Darkson.
Thank you, John, and good morning or afternoon to everyone here. I first also want to add my congratulations to Ahmed, the Global Village, and all the partners in this program. It's truly remarkable, and I when Ahmed called me to come see him about it a month or two ago. It was a 20-minute meeting that turned into an hour and a half because I really think this is, but this is a remarkable program. And I think as a business person in the community, as a representative of local government, and as a citizen of Alberta, I appreciate what has happened here and your vision, as the Premier has talked about over 20 years. I have more than 10 years of history with you, Ahmed, and to see you continue to on the vision that you've cast is both exemplary and inspirational. And I also, I was thrilled to see you become part of the Grassland School Board this fall. That's I think a testimony to progress in our communities, and it's truly inspirational. I also want to thank the Premier and Minister Orr and MLA Fry for coming to our community today. This is remarkable. Thank you for recognizing the vision that is important to Alberta here, because I think this project has a great deal of opportunity. I also appreciate the commitment of JBS in helping to make things happen in our community. As a business person and member of local government, as a citizen, I also want to express our appreciation to the Premier for the budget that came down last week. Who would have thought a year ago that would happen? And that's partly thanks to resource royalties, but it's also very much a credit to fiscal prudence that your government has shown. And as a business person, as a member of the community, we want to say thank you. And
It's nice to hear.
we're with you on that.
Normally, all I get from municipal guys is asking for more checks.
Well, no. That's coming. Yeah, I suppose, but we're actually okay. But the budget's being talked about on the street, and you need to hear that.
That's good to hear.
That's important for all of us. The benefit that accrues to this and future generations as a result of fiscal prudence by all levels of government are important. And I just add my ditto to what the others have said with regard to this program. So I won't take more of your time, but it is my extreme pleasure and privilege to introduce someone who needs no introduction today, Ahmed Kasam, Global Village.
Thank you very much. Welcome, Premier Jason Kenney, to our community again. Minister Orr, our great MLA, Ms. Frey. And I think we could not be here now today without the idea that we discussed with our Premier back in 2020, I believe was July 2nd, when we first met. I remember it was a Thursday, and you came to Global Village Center, and we discussed several programs, and one of them was John Ware. And because of your passion of the youth of Alberta, especially to this region, you made it happen, and thank you very much again. Yeah, it's a pleasure to be here and represent the mentorship program of John Ware. John Ware, as our Premier just mentioned, and Minister Orr, everyone knows he was born as a slave back in the South. He came to this area and he built his legacy. The program is intended for the youth, young adults, to reach their potential. The way that we vision the program, as we speak today, where we have over 95 youth, young adults who sign up the program. That is a number is growing still. It could reach 150 or 120. We met with their families when we met with the young adults. The reason is because in order for the youth to proceed and become successful, we need also to engage their families. So the kid will get support from home. That way, it's also a win-win situation. So if you want to empower the youth, then we empower also the family. And that's how the orientation has been taken the last couple of months. Also wanted to thank our great relationship with the school, JBS. We have a continuous relationship with JBS, the Chamber of Commerce. the city of Brooks, the county. We have a great partnership with FCSS and Grasslands FCSS, especially Lynn, and thank you very much for your support with to Global Village, and also to our team. Dr. Kadima, he's a medical doctor that you met him. He's one of the great associate and friend, and also Global Village that continues we have now today several newcomers that are here with us, like Ishmael, he's a businessman, who are here to step up on the plate and help the youth. Jonathan, he is also one of them who wants very much to mentor the youth, as well as Richard from the city of Brooks, and we have so many others who want to step up on the plate. This program, apart from the legacy of John Ware, great cowboy, I remember Bob Johnson, who is not here today, he's somewhere down the south, invited us to his farm, and this is coming from him, from the farm. And the reason is because, after all, John Ware was a cowboy, so we have to keep that legacy.
Western heritage.
Yeah, the heritage. So
And you've got an oil pump jack here. as
there
well,
you
so
go.
that's awesome.
Yeah. So that's
Got
yeah.
it covered.
There you go. Yeah. So we went that day, and we had a good time in his farm. And one of the things that he mentioned, he said, "Would you like to jump on the horse?" I said, "No, I don't think so." No, I said no. I don't want to fall off and end up same as John Ware, and then become another history myself. But maybe next time or the one after or several times, since it takes the horse to get to know you before you jump on the horse. I said, I said I was born nighttime. That's what my mom told me, but not last night. So thank you. I'm not going jumping on the horse. That's fine. But yeah, we had a good time in his farm. So one of the things of the program is also to ask our newcomers population, especially those from the professional side, business side, to step up on the plate and to invest their own time, not your time of 8 to 5 from job or 9 to 5, but also your own time. I put myself 16 hours, 17 hours a day, and I have a very, very supportive family. And I have also a family. My kid is at the University of Alberta taking psychology. But apart from that, we have to have a time management and help. If we don't invest, then who are expecting to invest the youth? So that's the whole idea, and I'm glad that we have several newcomers, professionals and business, as well as local people that are jumping into to step up on the plate to help the youth. And they realize about time that the program, this program that can come the right time. This is a need in our community, and we hope the program to expand other parts of the province. That way we have the youth of tomorrow, help them to achieve their potential. Some of the youths that are here today, some of those who signed, we have 3 youth, for example. One of them wants to be a mechanic, and he wants to be a mechanic in Alberta. He's from the Francophone school. He's his last year of the school.
That's fantastic.
We have a assistant teacher, and she is also she wants to be a full teacher, so she signed up the program, and she wants to be a full teacher at the school, Grassland School she is. The other individual she was an EMT back in Kenya, and she's here now. She wants to be RN. So we wanted to connect with somebody like Dr. Kadima and be able to help her with, medical professional and all that stuff. So
We need more.
yeah, so that is the whole idea of the program. And we have several other youth. So we sit with the youth, ask them what they like in life. And again, once we know what they want to do in life, if they are business, we have Margaret, who step up on the plate, Margaret there, who wants to mentor them in business-wise, or Ishmael, who's a businessman himself. He's the owner of driving school and a motorcycle in Brooks, and also in Calgary. If they wanted to know more about the farm or business at JBS, we have JBS, we have our friend there, Mr. Jonathan. The other component of the youth are those youth who have done some problems, for example, coming to the probation and have done some mistake in life. So this program will give them also a second chance, and that's why we had Rhonda from the Solicitor General's office, a probation officer. So we're coordinating with her for those kids to give them a second chance.
Fantastic.
Yeah, second chance, so they will reach also their potential. Those ones who work at JBS also have a program that helps their employees. That's called a Better Future. So we're going to also partner with them. We discussed with Jonathan last December. We're exploring best way to coordinate their program and John Ware for the benefit of the youth. And this program will help also the retention of the labor force in the rural area. And that is the whole idea of the John Ware, because every family came to this beautiful country, especially to this province, beautiful province, one of the best province I can say on the globe. The best. There you go. The best province, not in Canada, but also in North America. So having the best province, the reason they came here is for a safety and also to see their kids to succeed in life. So that's the most important for them. If they don't see their youth not succeeding in life, then they will move to the largest cities, such as Calgary or Edmonton, and that's how such organizations or companies like JBS or McDonald, others, to lose their labor force. Also, McDonald, I want also to thank Jordan, who is not here with us. Last time he was here, Mr. Jordan, he's in Mexico, and he extended his regards to you from Mexico. I spoke to him last night. He's one of the mentors in the program. He wants to mentor the youth as well, and he provided some other guidance and support. We have also another gentleman who owns the Shoppers Drug Mart. He's a newcomer himself from Ghana, and Shoppers Drug Mart wants to partner with John Ware. So we have a lot of newcomers in business-wise and professional who wants to bring this into the. So that is the idea of that was initiated long back in 2020. And again, I wanted to thank you for your true leadership and commitment to the youth of tomorrow. And we are very confident the program will succeed here and will be a good model for the rest of Alberta. And also wanted to congratulate and thank to our partnership with our Mayor John Petrie, Arnold from the Reeve, and also our MLA. That is Mr. Fred, that we could not, we have a continuous support from our MLA's office. And thank you very much for listening. I was not able to do the same with what our Premier have said and our minister. Or I'm not a politician, so I'm not. I'm just trying my best. Thank you very much.
So thank you very much, everyone, once again. Thank you very much, Ahmed. Ahmed said he works 16 hours a day, but I'm pretty sure he actually works 24, if you know him. So I'm just so excited to be able to push this project across the finish line. I heard about this in 2020 and a little bit in 2019. And we really realized, our government realizes that we need to untap the potential in our youth. And our youth are so important, especially in rural areas. They're the ones who are going to keep our communities thriving and keep our communities sustained throughout the future as well. So thank you for everything that you do, Ahmed, and Arno and John and Premier and Minister Orr. I really appreciate it. And we are going to wrap up the formal portion of our program at this, but I believe Amanda is coming up to the microphone from Minister Orr's office to take media questions. Or Justin, sorry, Justin.
Before he does, if I could just add one thing. Thank you all, Mayor and Reeve. Ahmed, thank you for those wonderful remarks. I just wanted to say that we see this as a pilot program. If this works out well in Brooks, I want to make this a provincial program. So no pressure on you. This is a pilot, okay? The spotlight's on you and your team. And I want to say thank you to JBS, as always, and all the other employers who are participating. This intersects with another key priority of our government, which is skills for jobs and retooling our education system so that we are imparting to young people practical skills through experiential, on-the-job learning and training. They do that in Germany very well. 2/3 of kids go through employer-sponsored apprenticeship programs, and they come out with a ticket in over 340 apprenticeable trades and professions, and with almost 100% employment. They have much fewer problems with labor and skill shortages in Germany because they engage youth in experiential, practical learning. And so the fact, I mean, we're going to tick a lot of boxes with this program. Integration. And I've always said, you know, I mean, you'll remember from my days as Minister of Immigration and Citizenship, Multiculturalism for Canada, that I think the key to overcoming issues like systemic barriers and racism is actually successful social and economic integration. That is the key. And you are focused not on abstractions, not on creating headlines, but on getting the job done when it comes to social and economic integration, right? That is the sweet spot, and that's why Brooks has been becoming a great Canadian success story. So I'm really excited about this. As I say, this is going to start in Brooks. We're going to take it province-wide. Thank you for your leadership. Happy to take any questions. Great to see you.
You too, thank you. Mr. Premier, you've kind of touched on a few of the questions I was going to ask.
Please, yeah.
You touched on a few of the questions that I was going to ask, namely the fact that it's a pilot project and expansion. I'm wondering how it can be expanded. And would this type of program fit in with any of the rural streams that you announced last week?
Yes and yes. So we want to fund the program here in Brooks, evaluate it, and we'll probably take a year or so to evaluate its outcomes, make sure that we're getting value for taxpayers' money, because the Reeve is absolutely right. We've got to be careful about that. And if we are, then I would absolutely consider working with Minister Ware and the Minister of Finance to expand the program and provincial funding for it. And then we could have settlement organizations in other parts of the province apply to replicate the John Ware Empowerment Program, the mentorship and training program in their communities. I see all of that as being complementary to the expanded integration efforts to support the rural immigration focus of our government. As I've said, we have enough people in the big cities. But we don't have enough people in many rural communities. The immigration policy that settled the Canadian West 140 years ago, you know, it was based, it wasn't about just putting more people in Toronto and Montreal in the late 1800s. It was about getting people out here to the prairies. It was a geographically targeted and focused immigration strategy that developed these communities. We need to get back to that. We need to get back to an immigration policy that brings hardworking people to our rural communities to renew that pioneer spirit in a way. And that's what the Rural Renewal Immigration Strategy and the Rural Entrepreneur Stream is about. In case you're not aware of that, Reeve and Mayor, well, it sounds like you followed our Fairness for Newcomers Summit quite a lot, Your Worship. The rural renewal thing is about this. We have a succession crisis in many businesses in rural Alberta, where the kids have gone to the city, and mom and dad are getting older, and there's no one locally to buy that hardware store, that mom and pop business. And so we want to connect them with potential buyers and operators who are immigrants, or immigrants who want to start a new business. You know, one of the great things about the Brooks experience is folks who came to work on the plant floor at JBS, who ended up getting their permanent residency and their citizenship, and then went and started a small business in Brooks. That's the rural entrepreneur stream. We are welcoming local communities such as Brooks to apply to become designated host communities through this strategy. They have to give us a professional, well thought through business plan of how the municipal government, schools, nonprofits, chambers of commerce, settlement organizations will all work together to provide wraparound support for successful outcomes. And I think a program like this is part of that, 100%. So it's complementary to the Rural Renewal Immigration Strategy.
Follow-up question? I'm just wondering about the budget and how the
I know.
rural communities are going to be helped in the budget that was just announced last week.
Well, this is a pilot. Overall in the budget, there is an additional significant investment that I will be announcing on Wednesday in Sundre for rural broadband, high-speed internet, because we have a tech boom in Alberta. By far the best year ever in information technology, digital information, innovation, and venture capital. But most of that is happening in the two big cities. And we want to make sure that rural Alberta communities can participate fully in the digital economy of the future. So we have a key priority to invest in high-speed, reliable internet and broadband service to rural and remote and Indigenous communities. So I'll be making an announcement about that on Wednesday, coming out of the budget. I'll give you a teaser on that. Altogether, if you add up the investments that we're making, which we hope will be matched by the feds and by the private sector telcos, we are looking at upwards of $1 billion in investment over the next 3 years to provide nearly 100% coverage across the province for broadband internet service. So that's one key aspect. Obviously, the rural renewal immigration stream is as well. Key investments in rural healthcare are a big part of the budget as well. It's an additional $600 million in budget 2022 to increase healthcare capacity. That's on top of $900 million new dollars in last year's budget. Specifically in this budget, we are funding an additional $80 million for rural physician recruitment and retention. We've also set aside $7 million in our collective bargaining agreement recently ratified with the Alberta Nurses Association, Union of Nurses of Alberta, I think it is, UNA, to recruit and retain nurses in underserved rural communities. And there's a lot of new capital spending in rural hospitals. Because if you don't have those health services, people won't come and they won't stay. We know that. So those are some of the things that we're doing in the budget, in addition to, of course, our economic recovery plan, which includes $960 million in renewal of the irrigation system in southern Alberta, the largest investment in that in 6 decades, which will increase by about 125,000 the number of arable acres available for food production. It includes things like the twinning of Highway 3 and a lot of other infrastructure projects, attracting more investment through our investment promotion strategy into food processing. So altogether, there's a lot of focus on rural.
Thank you. And any more questions from the floor?
Jonathan.
I just have one question, and thank you for being here. Great initiative, and appreciate the support. My question is regarding how do you assess success? Like, what matrix does the government look at to deem if this project was successful?
Well, the Ministry of Culture will come in and do an evaluation. They will have worked out in the contribution agreement certain key metrics, key KPIs, key performance indicators. When I oversaw programs like this federally, we would want to see how many how many youth participated, how many completed the program. If employment is a key goal, how many of them went on to successful employment. There would be surveys amongst program participants, the mentors themselves, to get their assessment of how useful the program was. So those would be some of the metrics. I don't know, Ron, if you have anything to add, but would you agree, Ahmed?
Yeah, that's the one that,
Come forward. Come on.
Yeah, thank you very much, sir. Yeah, Jonathan, yeah, your question, yeah. Those are the, how we're going to measure the agreement that we had with Minister Orr, your ministry. And yes, we have all that. We're going to be asking the mentors, the kids and everyone else, hoping that the number of the kids now we have so far, which about over 95 kids, and the number is growing. We can't do all of them, but hopefully that we're going to have the 3 different cohorts, and each cohort will have a group of youth. And the most important for us, the youth, is number one, they have to be committed. We want somebody who's committed and wants to help themselves, so we can help them. If someone is not interested to be helped, then that's just a waste of taxpayers' money, and we're not going to go there. The other one also is as much as it's a newcomers, if there is any kid from the local, yes, we will accept them, because this program is meant for all youth, regardless of your belief or regardless of your skin color. When you talk about newcomer, you see what's happening today in Ukraine. So those people coming from Ukraine, they did not ask, they are refugees today. So refugee means one day you are okay, next day you've been uprooted from your house. So if they come to this beautiful province, they will become newcomer. So that's the definition we see as a newcomer. Somebody is new to our community, and their family and their youth definitely. We will be very honored to have them to the program if they choose to join. So in that definition, we are helping the youth for tomorrow's beautiful Alberta so they can be the leaders of tomorrow.
100%.
The only thing I would add, and the Premier's list of things is totally the top priority, but of course there's also the importance of good financial accounting, good recordability, so that we can verify that the money is used the way it should be used. And then in terms of spreading it to the rest of the province, the real challenge there is going to be to find the kind of people and organizations that have the passion and commitment and the vision that Ahmed has. That's our biggest challenge. So anybody who can help us in that direction, I'm open for any connection you can make, because it really is about passion and people, and that will be our challenge moving forward.
Yeah, just want to add that what Minister Orr said. Yeah, we do have a great partnership with Medicine Hat College and from the main campus, who are very passionate of the youth, and as an institution, we've been working with them for the last many years. And also Grasslands FCSS, we have a great partnership, which is a provincial also, Grasslands FCSS. And also we have a partnership with a Alberta Rural Development Network that's based also in Edmonton. And we spoke to them, and we hope that that kind of partnership with FCSS, Medicine Hat College, as well as RDN, will give us the picture of if we move on to the province-wide. But we hope to keep also the program as a center here in Brooks, so we will be able to supply whatever needs to be done in other provinces. Each community has a different dynamic than Brooks. Some of them have less newcomers, and maybe they are attracting more. So we will provide them all the tools necessary, train the train from Brooks area. So the Brooks area will be a hub to support John Ware if you are in Granbury or if you are in Red Deer or other places. So that way we will be able to keep the legacy of John Ware in one center, and then be able to support to the other parts of the province, and they can adapt to the program as they see fit with that specific community. What works in Brooks, for example, might not be work in somewhere different than Brooks in component of the racial component in that area. So we will support them and give them the tools necessary for that community to succeed. The program is going to be connected with employers and community businesses and other stakeholders, and every community will be able to connect the program and school also, school divisions. So then they will be able to adapt their own and be successful, and we will support them.
You thought it all out already.
He's already got it figured out.
I'm starting to envision a platform item for next year. So
Yeah, that's awesome.
anyway, well, thank you very much, folks. I appreciate it. Sandra, anything? You're good?
Yeah,
I-
yeah, thanks very much.
Thank you. And if you want, you can ditch the mask tomorrow, but not yet. So we're good.
I think that's it. And
You're
that's
the,
all.
you're the boss lady here, so.
Okay. Well, thank you very much again, guys. I think we are going on a tour with Ahmed.
Awesome.
Okay, awesome.